Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the best division in football, the best television show not on television. This is the Parlay. This is the moment in which everybody is preparing themselves, their lineups, their bets. It is that ultimate adrenaline rush before kickoff in America, as the kickoff in London has already taken place. We are here today to answer all your fantasy football questions. We're going to pick a winner for each and every single game, the overs, the unders, the spreads, and I wouldn't do it with anybody else besides the man, the myth, the legend, the best co-host in the universe, the Milky Ways, all of the faraway stars, the Plutos and the Mars. Mr. Awthentik, let yourself in, sir.
The introduction is fine. I told you, see, I am a man. It's no real myth. I'm trying to push legendary status. I'm trying to get there, but I don't know, man. The man authentic, I guess. I guess it's just the man for now until we get to legendary status. What's cracking though with you, man?
Oh, man, nothing much, Just had a crazy weekend of sports card stuff in Chantilly. There was a bunch of people there signing autographs. Joe Theismann was up there. John Riggins was up there. A couple other big Hall of Fame names as well. So it's always fun to be in that mix. I saw you was in the mix yesterday at the Maryland game, seeing a couple of
win.
people.
Huge win for Maryland, man. That was a top 5 football moment for me, being in that atmosphere. It was just absolutely ridiculous. And got to meet Brandon Brown out there. He was out there scouting some wide receivers, chopped it up with him for a little bit, talked to him about Ty Felton and a few others, man, Caden Prather. And just we thought that game was out of reach at the end when Maryland goes for it on 4th down. They don't get it. And then you end up getting the ball back, block field goal. It was an amazing time, man. Then the students and the whole entire bleachers just completely stormed the field after the victory, man. And it was you could see like the cheerleaders feeling a little frightened, and it was getting dangerous out there. It was wild, but definitely got some great footage, man. And the recaps coming out from Maryland's team have been amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. I tell you, I was there for one of those. It was many moons ago. This is obviously in the Beard's party days. And we were there for a night game, ESPN, Maryland versus Florida State. This was back when Ralph Friedgen, the Fridge, was the head coach. And they upset Florida State on national TV. And we just were on the field. It was crazy. Like, to experience that is wild. You see it but like being in the mix is completely different. I remember afterwards, like College Park was just bananas. Like there was tanks and like it was crazy because it was.
Was that the one where they had the College Park riots back then? Was that time?
It was either that one or that might have been the Maryland Duke basketball game.
Oh yeah, that was that one. That was the Duke basketball game. Yeah, that was crazy. They had like a security with a big ass rope, like a bunch of ropes tied together. That's how they cleared the field. And they just walk from one end zone all the way to the other end zone with that rope. And if you don't move, you're going to get caught up in the rope and they're going to take you with them.
It's
kind of crazy. It was looking real savage out there.
But yeah, there was a lot of good college football games yesterday. Shout out Gregory. I see you in the chat asking me about Notre Dame. Yes, Notre Dame with a big win over Georgia Tech. They are still alive. We're going through Texas. Georgia was a wild game as well. So a lot of interesting college football action going on. But today is week 7. As we talked about in the intro, Jacksonville and New England is already off to a pretty hot start as far as fantasy numbers go. Jacksonville putting up 22 points in the first half. Drake May looks solid. Brian Thomas Jr. Looking good on the Jacksonville side. And then obviously if you had the Jacksonville defense playing, you put up some pretty good points there with that touchdown on the punt return. But make sure you guys are dropping all your fantasy football questions in the chat. We will get to all your questions after we talk about some guys that we're going to be sitting on the bench and some guys that we think could be potential sleepers. Maybe even some guys that shouldn't be asleep, but maybe asleep to some people. We'll have to wait till we get to that point, and we will talk about that. But we're going to go ahead and start with some guys that we think are going to be some potential sleepers week 7 in the NFL. All right, Mr. Awthentik, tell us about some sleepers you got here this week, fantasy football.
I like this. I get to go first. I'm kind of piggybacking off a sleeper that you had last week, actually, or I believe it was the week before that because we were off last week. But Xavier Legette going against the Commanders, and you've at the beginning of the year you used to say you don't say it as much anymore because y'all been winning a lot of games, but you used to say I'm picking anybody that's going up against that Washington Commanders secondary. Right now Xavier Legette is kind of coming into his own. He's taken 77% of the snaps in the past 3 weeks. Has a touchdown in 2 of his last 3 games as well, and he had 10 targets versus the Bengals. They're a pretty suspect secondary, and going up against Washington here in Week 7, I think they're a pretty suspect secondary as well. So I'd look to see Xavier Legette maybe have that like coming out kind of game today. I also like Rashard Bateman. He was on the waiver wire in our league this past week. I had a decision to make between him or Darius Slayton. I went with Darius Slayton, who had a pretty mediocre game, but Rashard Bateman, the over-under in this game, I think sets it up for him for one. This should be a big shootout game going up against the Bucs today. This is a great matchup here, Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson. The over-under is 49.5 in that game, so I expect a lot of points as well. Lamar said that this is a pick-your-poison type of offense as well, so maybe, when they get things rolling with the running game with Derrick Henry, utilizing the tight ends the way that they do, and also, you can't forget about Zay Flowers, but maybe that kind of creates some room for Rashard Bateman to be that second guy. He has at least 4 receptions in back-to-back weeks and pretty much has a touchdown every other week throughout the entire season. And I'm sticking with the theme, man, wide receivers. Romeo Doubs is a guy that I actually drafted early on, has been kind of taking a seat on my bench for a while here. The suspension kind of got in the way. He had 2 touchdowns on 4 targets last week. I think that suspension kind of humbled him a little bit too, and it's back to getting back to football now. Had 8 targets versus Minnesota the week before the suspension. I think he's also due for a breakout game. And another one that should be a shootout with Jordan Love going up against C.J. Stroud.
Excuse me. I absolutely love the Legette play. Deontay Johnson's already in a bunch of my DraftKings lineups. So it still stands that if you're playing against the Washington Commanders, you're more than likely your wide receivers are going to have a big game. There's another guy who I was unfamiliar with till recently. He's a walk-on at or undrafted free agent, but he's played football at Holy Cross. Wow. His last name is Cooker for the Carolina Panthers, and I think he was like 3rd in yards for them last week, so he might be an even deeper sleeper if you guys are looking for somebody to play like in DraftKings or something like that. He's only like $3,000 on DraftKings right now, so definitely another guy there. As for me, there's a couple of people here on the same team. We're going to start off with Juju Smith-Schuster, though. Obviously, the Kansas City Chiefs have been, tons of injuries over there. The main one, obviously, being a Rashee Rice. I think Juju Smith-Schuster stepped up in to fill that void. He is coming into this week questionable, but I still think he's most likely to play, obviously. But he's going up against San Francisco 49ers, who are allowing the 11th most yards per reception. They also allow 215.2 yards per passing yards per game. Last week when the Chiefs played, because last week they were on a bye, but the week before that, Juju had 8 targets, 7 catches, 130 yards. I want to say that was his most yardage total since 2020. So it was a really big game for Juju. I think there's some familiarity there with Patrick Mahomes. So that should help him, and I think he's going to have a pretty good game this week. Another wide receiver who I thought was going to actually have a pretty good year, has kind of been flying under the radar production-wise, is Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd was always a solid wide receiver 3 in Cincinnati, but that was mostly because he had T. Higgins and Jamar Chase in front of him. I think he's more of a wide receiver 2 possibility level of production, but it's been tough in Tennessee this year. Obviously, Will Levis has not been playing solid ball at the quarterback position.
Play has been he's regressed. It's weird because last year had a good spark. Like you thought he was going to be a guy last year.
Yeah, and now he's going to be out this week, which is kind of interesting. Will
Levis is out this week.
Will Levis is out this week. I think that's more so of the shoulder injury that he had. Apparently, there is some issues still there. So Will Levis will be out. Mason Rudolph will be starting.
He's competent.
Yeah,
Mason
exactly.
Rudolph can get it done.
I'm not the biggest Rudolph. I'm not saying Rudolph is going to come in and throw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns, But I think that it's going to possibly be a level up of quarterback play, which may benefit Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd's averaging close to 4 targets a game with Will Levis. So I think with Mason Rudolph, you might be able to connect on, let's say he gets 6 targets, he might be able to connect on 4, possibility of a touchdown. They're probably going to be playing from behind against Buffalo, so there's going to be a lot of volume possibility there. So I like Tyler Boyd as a sleeper. And this next one from the same team, Awthentik kind of gave me a little chuckle when I was talking about it, is Tony Pollard. Now, Tony Pollard may not be your traditional sleeper in the sense where, like he's a guy that may be available on the waiver wire, or he's a guy that, you might not have necessarily heard of. But I like Tony Pollard in this section because I don't think he's the guy that necessarily just stands out immediately to you. If you have him on your team already, you've probably seen the production, like Awthentik was pointing out to me earlier before we went live. But I mean, he's averaging 15.2 fantasy points per game. Buffalo allows 11th most.
15.2 is that, man, that's great productivity.
Great.
I was talking with a couple of the homies. I think the number one fantasy producer is somewhere around 24 points a game, 23, 24 points a game. Alvin Kamara was up there at the top with the running backs as well, too. So that 15 is solid, yeah.
Yeah, and it's been a very inconsistent sort of week to week with these running backs. Like, you got a guy who's like the number one running back for 1 week, and then the next week it's somebody else. Like, it hasn't been a lot of consistency outside of maybe Derrick Henry, some Saquon Barkley weeks, but Saquon's had a couple of down weeks recently.
He's had some
so
inconsistencies the last couple.
Yeah, Derrick Henry has really just been the guy so far.
David
but
Montgomery, man, my guy has been consistent, man.
He's touchdown machine. And he's also Pollard's also averaging 3.2 receptions per game. So those are some guys that are kind of on my radar as far as possible sleepers this week. So I'll be keeping an eye on how they produce this week. We definitely see all of the questions coming in from the chat. Keep those coming in. We're going to get to those questions momentarily. Up next, we're going to talk about some guys that, speaking of bench guys, these are going to be some guys I think we're going to be putting on the bench in Week 7 fantasy football. All right, I'm going to go ahead and take the lead on this one. This first one absolutely pains me because he's been a guy that I drafted high and drafted in multiple leagues, drafted in best ball leagues, all types of everywhere. I have this guy, and that's Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle I feel for people who have Waddle, Tyreek Hill, even Achane. Like, it just, to me, it kind of puts a little bit more of a spotlight on how effective and how valuable Tua is, because Tua gets a lot of heat. Not a lot of Tua haters out there, but without Tua, this offense has been an absolute shambles.
Yeah,
and so Jalen Waddle has 0 double-digit fantasy point games since week 1. 0. So it's like, this is a guy who's drafted pretty high, 3rd round, 4th round, maybe in most leagues. So not having Jalen Waddle produce has hurt a lot of people, and I don't think he's going to be producing this week. So, there's nothing that makes me change my mind. I'm going to be putting him on the bench. Tua is supposed to be practicing this upcoming week and possibly returning in week 8. So, to put Waddle on your bench for one more week, you've made it this far. I think you should be okay. Up next is Michael Pittman Jr., who the last couple of weeks has had some crazy games. He had a couple of 20-point games, some, high teen-digit fantasy point games. But Anthony Richardson is making his return. Anthony Richardson, I think some people forgot, he's still a project to a certain extent. He is learning. Definitely. He is learning on the job. So he is making his return to the lineup this week. No more Joe Flacco. And with Anthony Richardson, Michael Pittman is only averaging 6.6 fantasy points per game. And Miami's pass defense is phenomenal. They allow the 3rd fewest passing yards per game. They're only allowing 159.6 passing yards per game. So Michael Pittman, even though he had a huge week last week, this week I suggest sitting him against that Miami defense with Anthony Richardson playing quarterback. And
has Miami dropped all those games without Tua?
Yeah, I don't think. No, I think they won one maybe.
They might have won
No.
one. That's crazy because their defense, you're talking about giving up 159 passing yards per game. It's excellent. That
Yeah.
pretty much doesn't get any better than that, but that's interesting. It means that your offense really ain't moving that ball.
Yeah, I think they won one game without Tua because they're 2-3, and they had a
Got
bye
you.
week. So
Yeah.
that kind of helps them a little bit to have that bye week when they did. And last but certainly not least is Mr. Aaron Jones. He's going to be returning from injury. Now, this is just a personal preference of the beard. I don't
I don't remember you telling me this one when we were talking before the show.
Oh, did I
Aaron
leave
Jones
that
in
one?
the sit-em, huh?
Did I leave that one? I might have left that
Yep.
one off on the little preview
think you
production
did.
meeting. Sorry about that.
Yeah. That's a tough one. I don't agree with this one.
Yeah, I know. Listen, Aaron Jones is a guy that he has a solid running back here, okay? Fantasy and in real life. He's coming off of this injury. I don't know if Minnesota is going to be effective running the ball against Detroit. Detroit has the third best rush defense in the NFL. They're only allowing 83.2 yards per game. And then coming back off the injury, I just think that if you have better options, then I wouldn't force feed Aaron Jones back into your lineup if you have been successful without him in your lineup over the past couple of weeks. Because sometimes you got a guy like that and you're like, okay, he's back. Let's go into the lineup. And then next thing you know, they give you like 6 points, fantasy. So it can be kind of
Do
tough.
you know who the backup edge is instead of Aiden Hutchinson for the Detroit Lions?
I do not. That's a good
Neither
point,
do I. But I would run right at him all day. That's what I would do.
They did bring somebody in. I can't remember who it was who they brought in, but they did bring somebody in. I don't know if they're going to throw him in the lineup immediately or if they're going to work him in slowly with somebody who is playing second, third string already on the roster at the point of the injury. So that's a good point, though. That's a good point. We'll see how Detroit's rush defense is without Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, the defense in general.
Player. Yeah, maybe the best defensive player in the league. To 6 weeks. For me, it's going to be Calvin Ridley going up against the Bills. A lot of reasons. You said Will Levis obviously has regressed. Now you go into a backup. That's news to me, but Mason Rudolph is a better quarterback. So, I mean, maybe that makes you think about starting Calvin Ridley, but I would still put him on the bench against the Bills. Calvin Ridley this year has one game of 25 plus, right? Which sounds like, wow, 25 plus, that's great. Every other game has been under 7 points. He's got 3 straight games, and he hasn't even breached 2.1 fantasy points, and we're talking PPR. It's been a letdown because I hyped up Calvin Ridley very high. Coming from the Jaguar system, they had him playing a lot of outside wide receivers. So I thought that he would get back to his natural slot position when he went over there to Tennessee. I love what Rand Carthen was doing over there, but the experiment has not been working that well because the quarterback is not great. But that's how you got to do, man. You got to put the pieces around your quarterback and find out if he is the guy. And I think that this year the Tennessee Titans found out that Will Levis is not it. Zach Charbonnet, the Beard did tell me that Kenneth Walker is coming into this one questionable and banged up. But since Kenneth Walker has came back, Zach Charbonnet has not had more than 7 touches. He's got back-to-back games under 5 fantasy points. I mean, that's something to monitor. I feel like Zach Charbonnet was not impressive in the games when Kenneth Walker was not there, but he did have one where he was over 15. So, I mean, some pretty decent productivity, but I'd put Zach Charbonnet on the bench today. And the last one is everything Cleveland Browns related needs to be not only on your bench, but needs to be off your team at this point. I spent some of this week looking at some tape on the Cleveland Browns, and Alex Rollins put out a really good video about Deshaun Watson and the struggles that are happening over there. Jerome Ford is one of the worst blocking running backs in the entire National Football League, and I think that does not help their passing attack. And the capabilities that he brings to the ground game is not enough to have him as a liability in pass pro. Jerome Ford, out of here. David Njoku, I know he just got back from the injury last week. He's probably the only salvageable player on the Cleveland Browns offense right now after they traded Amari Cooper. I'm still putting him on the bench. Jerry Jeudy has not been good for a long time now, and I think that's why the Broncos, were very willing to trade him. And Deshaun Watson has been playing some of the worst football. I saw something about, I'm not an EPA kind of statistic kind of guy. That's one of the stats that I don't really look too far into. But they did, I want to say it was almost 500 quarterbacks in the last 25 years that have gotten at least 6 starts. Deshaun Watson was the second worst of about 500 quarterbacks from an EPA standpoint. And that's not going to get it done, especially in fantasy football.
Do you remember who the worst was?
They didn't say. It was on a PFF show. And the other host did ask, like, I'm curious now to know who the other two were. But just think about how many bad quarterbacks have had, about six starts that we've seen play out there. And to have Deshaun Watson be that low after you traded, was it 3 first rounders for that dude? It's tough, man. The Cleveland Browns are in a really shitty position right now. And their defense has been, outside of Denzel Ward, their defense has not been that great, man. They allowed the 8 explosive plays last week. I'm sitting them too. So everything Cleveland Browns, I'm cutting most of it. David Njoku and maybe their defense are probably the only salvageable pieces for me.
Yeah, so it's going to be an interesting week. Listen, Cincinnati Bengals better. I feel like if you're going into a game against the Cleveland Browns and you're a coach on the hot seat, you better come out on the right side of that game, because that's one of those teams that if you lose to during this season, you might get fired.
The sketchy part is the Cleveland Browns have owned the Cincinnati Bengals in like the past 5 games. That's the really sketchy part. So if the Bengals go out here and they don't perform, it's a wrap for them, if you ask me. I mean, the whole that they dug themselves to start off the season 0-3 and 1-4, you're not going to climb out of that in that division.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting week there in Ohio for those two teams. All right, we're going to go ahead and get to some of the questions in the chat that we got. Big shout out to our guy, Sebastian, in the building, who said that they sat Tank Bigsby and Brian Thomas.
Oof. That's tough.
That's already 2 touchdowns and like 100+ yards for you right there. But he says he's got Chubb on his bench, as do I. I got a lot of Nick Chubb stashed. He says, do I sit him or start Brock Bowers, George Pickens, or Tyrone Tracy? What do you think about that?
That's tough. I mean, George Pickens could have a spark today with Russell Wilson at the quarterback position, more of a pure passer, over Justin Fields and whatnot. Ooh, Drake May almost picked off right there. It was a bad throw on 3rd and 5. I like Tyrone Tracy. He's been effective in the lineup. He's going to get the touches, obviously, today. The Philadelphia Eagles defense is, their rush defense ain't fantastic.
Is Singletary back?
I mean, he's still dealing with the groin injury. So even if he is back, I'd expect Tyrone Tracy to be the guy who leads the running back room as far as touches. Mm-hmm. Brock Bowers is just on a bad team. Good player on a bad team. I'm not going with Chubb, so let me eliminate that. I just can't put Chubb in the lineup coming off that devastating injury in his first week back here. I just can't do it. I think I'm going Tyrone Tracy.
It's tough for me because I love me some Tyrone Tracy. I absolutely do. I am scared. I don't trust the New York Giants offense. I just don't, and it bothers me. Like, yeah, the Raiders are a bad team and the Giants are a bad team, but I think Brock Bowers he's wide receiver 1 at this point, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, Jacoby Myers, will probably get some action and some love here, but I still think that Brock Bowers is the guy.
Does that maybe make it worse that they have no Devontae now?
Him?
Yeah.
It's possible, but I wonder, excuse me, I wonder if Jacoby Myers will garnish some of that attention. Trey Tucker kind of stepping up a little bit too as well. That's going to be an interesting aspect of it. The Rams defense, not so great. That game's going to be interesting. So I'm not mad at Pickens. I'm not mad at Tracy. I just feel like Bowers is the safest of the 3.
I wouldn't go George Pickens. The numbers from George Pickens on fantasy have not been that good this year. Brock Bowers is coming off 2 pretty decent games. He had 11.6 in PPR last week and 22.7 the week before that against Denver, which that's a really good defense. So I do feel you on Brock Bowers being safe. So for me, yeah, I'm with you. I'd either go Tyrone or Brock on that one.
Big shout out to our guy, Juan Pena Jr. in the building. Says, who for my wide receiver 2 and flex? So we get to choose 2 guys out of this squadron here. Wan'Dale Robinson, Alexander Madison, Alan Lazard, Josh Downs, Tyler Goodson, Xavier Legette, Jacoby Myers, Christian Watson, Jordan Whittington, or Rashad Bateman. So you get to pick 2 of these guys, basically.
It's not a lot of good names here. 2 of them were in my sleeper section. That's what's crazy. I think I like. This is not good. I think I like Rashad Bateman. Wando Robinson's going to get some targets. It's just he's probably not going to get in the end zone.
If it's PPR, though, he's got to be averaging close to 10 points a game now, right?
Yeah, I think I'd go. Yeah, I mean Christian Watson could give you a big play too, though.
Ooh, yeah.
Give me Christian Watson and Wando Robinson.
I think I'm right there with you. I like those two. Now, if I want to like throw you some possibilities, we talked about Xavier Legette. I think that's definitely a possibility as far as the Carolina-Washington matchup. Josh Downs. I talked about Michael Pittman Jr. not performing well with Anthony Richardson. The two guys that have historically played well with Anthony Richardson is Josh Downs and Alec Pierce, because of those deep ball passes connections. But that's a lottery pick right there. Alan Lazard has been solid for Aaron Rodgers. Now they're getting Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson. Does that like throw him like completely off of the radar, or does that open things up for him? That's another lottery pick. So I think Wando Robinson and Christian Watson are your two best bets there. I'm going to agree with Awthentik. I think that that's probably going to give you the best chance right there for some points. Big shout out to Juan Pena. Says, I traded Josh Jacobs and Tank Dell for Justin Jefferson.
It's a good one.
I still got DJ Moore, and
that's my squad, bro. Justin Jefferson, DJ Moore, that's my squad right there, bro.
I still got Kenneth Walker, Kyron Williams, and Breece Hall. Should I have faith in Madison and Etienne replacing Jacobs?
Nope. Nope. Definitely not.
But this is the thing, though, is that like if you have Kyron Williams and Breece Hall and Kenneth Walker, I don't think that you have to worry about replacing Josh Jacobs.
Exactly. I'm surprised you had all those running backs on your team. That's amazing.
Yeah, I think that it's an interesting flip to flip Josh Jacobs and Tank Dell for Justin Jefferson. I think that's good value there that you got in that trade for sure. Mm-hmm. So I don't think, like Awthentik said, no, you shouldn't have faith in those guys replacing Jacobs. But I don't think you need to worry about replacing Jacobs if you have Walker, Williams, and Breece Hall. Breece Hall seems to be playing a lot better recently too. So
Jets have had their bye already too, right? I think the Jets had their bye.
I think so.
The Seahawks haven't yet, though, so you only have to worry about that for a week or two max.
Yeah. Up next, Juan Pena talking defense. Washington Commanders, Indianapolis Colts, Cincinnati Bengals, Baltimore. I don't even need to read the rest. Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, the Browns are playing really bad, but the Bengals defense is not good. You're gonna learn a lot today about that game. That Bengals Browns game is gonna teach you a lot about actually what's happened in the NFC East thus far. Because we've all played against the Browns, we know what that defense is all about. Outside, even the Philadelphia Eagles played the Browns too, and all those games were very low scoring except the Dallas Cowboys one, right? Like they're the only team that put up a lot of points on them. If the Bengals come out here this week and their defense struggles against Deshaun Watson and that offense, you know what it is, man.
Yeah. And just for me, like right now in fantasy football, I'm a defense a week guy. So I pick up a new defense every week.
Oh, man, not me. I'm Pittsburgh Steelers. Steel curtain.
Well, I'm not mad at you for the Steelers. I think there's probably maybe two defenses in the league that are like that right now.
Yeah,
maybe
Vikings
3.
are probably one of them.
Vikings, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's a really
the
good
reason
defense.
with the Vikings though is the Vikings play in a high scoring division. So you got to play against the Lions, the Packers, and even the Bears now. Who's
no losing records in that division right now?
No, none. I think they're all at least 2 games over 500. So that's the only thing with the Vikings. But I mean, the Broncos, Steelers, and maybe even the Chargers or Miami. If you look at the points per game, and
Miami
stuff like
surprisingly, you brought that to my attention.
But yeah, Bengals against the Browns. I mean,
What about the Colts? What about the Colts defense
against
going up
Miami?
against the Dolphins today?
That's a possibility.
Yeah, their defense is bad too, though. So I do think it's a toss-up between the Colts and the Bengals.
Yeah, but you should never play the Commanders' defense.
Yeah, maybe never. Yeah.
Big shout out to Doom, Rashad Bateman, or Christian Watson.
That was in that other question, and I think we kind of answered it. So we're going to go Christian Watson.
Christian Watson.
I like Rashard Bateman, though. I like both of them. I like both of them.
Oh, big shout out to our guys on Twitch. Ubiquitously morning. With Cup likely out, I need one flex. Half-point PPR. Moss, Wandale, Sermon, Dobbs, or Pickens. Dobbs and Pickens sounds like an old cop TV show.
Calvin and Hobbes. I'm going Romeo Dobbs on this one, I think. I'm definitely staying away from Zach Moss. Romeo Dobbs or Wandale Robinson.
I'm right there with you. I just now maybe it's half-point PPR, so maybe that makes me lean a little bit towards Dobbs. If it would have been full-point PPR, I might lean more towards Wandale. Or if it was like standard scoring, I would lean towards Dobbs. But I think I'm going to go Dobbs in a half-point PPR, but would not be mad at Wandale Robinson.
Ray Davis is officially active. Kenneth Walker III active. Aaron Jones active. Alec Pierce active. Michael Pittman Jr., Odell Beckham Jr., all active.
There we go. Odell Beckham Jr., huh?
Second game, yeah.
Did he have any catches in his first game?
I don't think so. I think he did get targeted maybe once, though.
Big shout out to our guy, Juan Pena Jr. Should I still stash Lazard? Downs, Myers, and Damian Pierce?
Yeah,
Downs and Myers.
Yeah,
if I had
maybe even Lazard kind of see what goes on. Damian Pierce, man, damn, that dude was like rookie year. He was a dude. I don't know what happened with him. It depends on the options you have over them. I mean, in my league, having a guy like Damian Pierce on your bench is not a terrible thing because like every running back is taken.
Yeah.
So if you can't supplement it with somebody better, maybe you stick with him.
Yeah, depending on which league that this is you're talking about, because if it's in the league where you already have Breece Hall and Kyron Williams and
that's a lot going
Walker,
on. Yeah.
I think you're gonna be okay.
And Madison. Who was the other one? I feel like there was another one there too.
Juan's always got some.
Oh, ATN. Yeah, if you got those guys, you don't need Damian Pierce.
Juan's always got some strong teams here. Big shout out to Heisenberg. Is that H-I? Can't read.
Yeah, H-I-G-H. Heisenberg. I like that.
How do we feel about starting Baker Mayfield over Joe Burrow today?
Feel good. Baker Mayfield, number one fantasy player in the whole league right now, right? Yeah. Boy, been balling. That man could have thrown 9 touchdowns last week. They put up 50 and he threw 3 interceptions. It's crazy.
I think we're gonna go Baker over Burrow. I mean, Burrow, it's nothing. It's not an indictment on Burrow, but I mean that matchup is a little tough in Cleveland, you know. And I just think Baker is playing better football fantasy wise right now. Maybe even in general.
Baker's like the best quarterback in the league right now.
Baker, that's our guy. That's our guy.
Yeah, man.
Big shout out James Jones, a.k.a. Lil TNT. I'll give you my whole lineup. Quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a flex. We'll go one by one here. Mayfield or Jordan Love?
Mayfield.
I'm going to go Love. Derrick Henry, Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb, or Tracy Jr.? You get 2.
Derrick Henry, Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb, or Tracy, and you get 2. Give me Derrick Henry and Hunt. He listed the good ones first. Yep.
Yeah, Derrick Henry and Hunt. And so now you have left over, you got Tracy, Chubb, Jefferson, Downs, Waddle, Diggs, Ayuk. So this is where you're tough. This is where you're going to get a little tough here. You get 2 wide receivers out of that bunch. So I'm assuming we're going to go Jefferson and Diggs.
This is my team right here. Look. I'm going Jefferson Ayuk because that's what I got in the starting lineup today. I like Stephon Diggs, you know, and I like what he's bringing to the table with the Houston Texans, but it just seems like he ain't really the number one guy over there.
So you could put Diggs in the flex here, though.
You could, but I might go running back. I might rock with Tyrone Tracy. He's going to get some touches today.
Yeah. It's interesting. That's a nice lineup, though.
You could go Diggs. It is a good lineup. Yeah, I like it.
I like it.
Baker Mayfield at QB. Whew. I was looking at some Baker Mayfield stats. Baker Mayfield just been going crazy, bro. got 15 passing touchdowns.
That's second in the league right now.
Might be tied for first.
Burrow?
Somebody else had 15. Burrow had 9 going into the Giants game, and he didn't throw any. So Burrow kind of fell back down to earth, I think.
Sam Darnold?
I'll give you leaders. Darnold might be up there.
And then who else?
Lamar Jackson had a nice ratio entering last week. Let's see. Yeah, but Baker's been on fire, man. That dude,
putting up them numbers.
yeah. Geno Smith leads the league in passing yards. That's an interesting one. And passing touchdowns is, Baker Mayfield, number 1 by
15.
himself. Joe Burrow's at 12 now at number 2, tied with Jordan Love. Sam Darnold, 11. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and C.J. Stroud all have 10.
Nice little top tier of quarterbacks up there. Big shout out to our guy, Firefighter on Twitch. Breece Hall or J.K. Dobbins? Breece Hall is going to get up against the Steelers' run defense. Chargers are playing the Cardinals.
Yeah, I'm going J.K.
Yeah, let's go J.K. Dobbins. I'm doubling down on Dobbins.
J.K.
double down Dobbins. Impossible. Half-point PPR. Start 1. Running back, 1 receiver, 1 flex. Chuba Hubbard, James Cook, Chase Brown, Eckler, Tracy, Zay, Smith and Jigba, and Pittman.
Okay. Running back looks like running back looks like James Cook.
Okay, I'll agree with that one.
Wide receiver is looking like Zay Flowers.
Yep.
And then flex.
Eckler or Chuba?
Yeah, Chuba's been playing well. Chase Brown been playing all right too.
Yeah.
I think I go
Cleveland defense.
You know you're going to start Chuba and he's going to have a weak game.
That Washington run defense is pretty bad, my friend.
Yeah, but when you're getting your ass kicked, it's hard to keep running the ball. And that's likely what's going to happen today. I'm staying away from Chuba. Give me Chase Brown.
I'm going to take Eckler, but over Chase Brown. I think the matchup for Eckler, that's half-point PPR, though. I'll double down.
I'm not too mad at it. With the flex being Chase, Eckler, or Tracy, I wouldn't be opposed to any of the 3. They can all get it done.
Not mad at it. Okay, here we go. James Jones got another lineup for us. Quarterback, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and a flex. This is the same one, or did you just add in a different one?
2-2.
He added Higgins in there. That's what happened.
Oh, okay. Higgins isn't. T. Higgins is a beast, man. That dude, strong hands. So we'd be putting in Higgins over an Ayuk or if we had Diggs in the flex.
I think
I like Higgins in the flex.
Yeah, I think I'd stick with Diggs though. No Nico Collins. Diggs and Tank Dell are gonna have bigger production numbers moving forward. I think that game in Houston and Green Bay is gonna be a shootout too.
How long is Nico out for? I remember he's on IR, but is
he 4 to 6 weeks, I think. So
as long as it ain't season ending, they're gonna need him down the stretch.
Oh, absolutely. And big shout out to the Beard for talking about Nico Collins before everybody else.
Yeah, for 3-4 years it felt like.
Big shout out to Operation Blue, Zay Flowers or Wandell.
I'm going Zay.
Yeah, gotta go Zay. Big shout out to Five Blizza. Love that name. It sounds like a 2020s rapper.
Five Blizza.
Yeah. Who should I start in my flex? Mike Evans or Devonta Adams?
I'm going Mike Evans. Devontae just got there.
Listen, I am like top of the class when it comes to Mike Evans fan clubs. Okay. I push the Mike Evans narrative because I think he's the most underrated wide receiver in the NFL, and he should be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
That's a crazy statement. Mike Evans, the most underrated wide receiver in the NFL?
Yeah.
That is a crazy
He
statement.
does not. Maybe it's.
He's not underrated at all.
So then, what's the word I should underappreciated?
Dude's a dog. Everyone knows Mike Evans is a dog.
But nobody ever talks about Mike Evans like he's a dog.
Man, as many times as I've heard this dude, 10 straight seasons of 1,000 yards, as many times I've heard that on podcasts. What are we talking about here?
It's only us. We're the number one guys pushing it.
No, bro, Mike Evans underrated is crazy. But I'm going with Baker and Mike Evans because it just makes sense. They have chemistry. What could Devontae Adams possibly have came into this offensive system? I know he has familiarity with the offensive coordinator, right? But they're probably going to have like 5 routes set up for him. He don't know the complete offense yet and exactly what they do. It's week 1. Devontae might be on my bench this week.
I think he goes for 10 catches, 100+ yards, and a touchdown in his debut.
All right, I mean, it sounds good right now. We'll see how it goes. So we got Saquon getting 200 today, and we got Devontae Adams getting 100 today. I'm going to go with both of those. Probably not going to happen.
You're not going to forget about that.
Jaguars stopped on 4th and 1 on the 5-yard line.
Oh, man.
25-10 right now.
Big shout out to our guy checking in. I have no idea what time it is over there, but our guy, Yannick, checking in.
What's going on, Conway?
Says, love this. Proud of y'all. Green Bay versus Houston. Not a fantasy question, but I like what the Texans are doing with CJ, but I got Pax at Lambeau plus too many targets and Jordan's back in his bag.
I'm with you. Yahweh, my dog, man. Good to hear from you, man. Hit me up sometime, man. It's been a minute. Hope all is well with the family, my dog.
Yes, we appreciate the international audience, as always. So
the Beard's about to have a baby, Yahweh. I don't know if you know, but he's about to have a baby, too.
Yep. Yeah. It's public knowledge now, I got a lot of shout out to everybody who saw me at the card show this weekend. A lot of people congratulating us and a lot of people shouting out Awthentic on the intro on the Over the Years Sports channel.
Oh, good stuff, man.
People were absolutely going crazy over that intro. A lot of people commented to me about that. So I said, yeah, we got a football show. Come check us out. And they're like, oh, all right. And then I always got to spell Awthentic for them. And then once you get it the first time, you never forget it. It's always the AW. You know what I'm saying? Gotta let them know. We're going to go ahead and pick every single game now. Winner, loser. Against the spread, over unders. You name it, we're going to give it to you. Put together the parlays best as you feel. We're going to start things off with the first game in America. That is going to be
in America.
Yeah. The Detroit Lions. They are 4-1. They are headed to Minnesota, who face the Vikings, who are 5-0, one of only 2 undefeated teams in the National Football League. The Vikings are 1.5-point favorites. The over-under in this game is 50.5. Kickoff is at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Awthentic, tell me what you got.
I knew you were going to come to me first for this one. Awthentic, what you got? I already knew. This is a tough way to start off these picks, man. The Detroit Lions offense has been clicking in a major, major way, but I think I got more faith in that Minnesota Vikings defense today. I'm going to take the Minnesota Vikings in this one. I'm surprised that they're favored. I know they're at home, but I'm still surprised that they're favored. I'm going to take the under 50.5. I'll take the Minnesota Vikings to cover that 1.5.
This is going to be a fun game. There's a couple of really fun games. I'm going to go Detroit Lions to win outright. And I'm going to take the over 50.5. This is going to be an absolute boat race to the barn that's on fire.
Yeah. I got a feeling you're going to be right on this one. I really do. The Lions' offense seems a little more potent right now than the Vikings.
Jared Goff is just clicking right now. Like the guy is.
The last 2 games, I mean.
Firing on all cylinders.
It's crazy. I think it's 3 incompletions in those 2 games because he was 19-19 on that game against Seattle. And they balling.
Up next, it's going to be the Tennessee Mason, the Red-Nosed Rudolph Titans headed up to Buffalo to face the Bills. The Titans are 1-4. Buffalo 4-2 after that close victory over the New York Jets. The Bills are favored by a whopping 9 points. The over-under in this game is 41.5. Kickoff is at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills to win. I'm going to do this. I shouldn't, but I'm going to do this. I'm going to take the Bills to win and cover 9 points. I'm going to take the under 41.5.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. I think it'd be a little bit more, jumping off a cliff to take the Titans to cover, to be honest. I mean, I don't see where they're going to get the offensive productivity, but maybe with Mason Rudolph in the lineup, they get a little bit more points on the board. But I'm taking Buffalo. I'll take the over 41.5. And yeah, they're going to cover that 9.
Up next, the Miami Dolphins are 2-3, which is pretty damn amazing since considering the lack of offense since Tua has gone down. They're headed up to Annapolis to face the Colts, who are 3-3. Colts are 3-point favorites, over under 43.5. Kickoff 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Authentic, tell me what you got.
This is going to be a close game. I'm going to take the under 43.5. I think it's going to be fairly low scoring, and I'm going to take the Colts to cover the 3. Anthony Richardson, we just need to see you get on track here, man. I hope that Shane Steichen develops a game plan for him today that kind of simplifies things for him. Let the game come to him. It seems too often they're trying to make him be a drop back passer, and he's also got to learn how to slide and stop taking these big hits. But I'm taking the Colts. I think this will be a good game to get them over 500.
I'm going to take the Colts also. I felt a lot easier taking the Colts if it would have been Joe Flacco, the starting quarterback position. But I think this is a good opportunity for Anthony Richardson if with a good game plan, like you mentioned. If they can find a way to run the ball successfully, open up some play action stuff down the field, I expect the Colts to win. I hate 3 because I always feel like a game like this is going to come down to 3 points. But I'll take the Colts to cover. I'm going to take the under 43.5. Up next, another fun game, I think. The Seattle Seahawks are 3-3. They are headed
Drake May, bro.
Yo, what do you do now?
Beautiful fit. First off, Hunter Henry's value as a fantasy tight end is going way up with Drake May at quarterback. Hit him on a seam right down the middle, and then he went right back to the sideline to, I believe it's Jalen Polk, on a fade ball that is just dead perfect. It actually might have been Baker. But just, I mean, oh my God, he's just man, that kid's impressing me, man.
Yeah,
Arm talent.
Hunter Henry's got 8 catches for 92 yards right now.
Jesus.
Up next, Seattle Seahawks. They're 3-3. They're headed down to Atlanta to face the Falcons, who are 4-2. Falcons are 3-point favorites. Over under in this game is 51.5. Kickoff is at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't know, man. I'm starting to lose a little faith in Seattle. Starting to gain a little bit more faith in Atlanta, even though this matchup is interesting to me because I think Atlanta's defense is suspect at times. I think this is going to be a fun game. I'm going to take the Falcons to win. I'll take the Falcons to cover, and I'm going to take the over 51.5.
See, those are the things from Jake May right there. So you get 2 really nice throws, and then a throw that's just like, is that Authentic out there playing quarterback? This was not good. This is a tough one to pick for me. Seattle's coming off 3 straight losses. 11 days they played, and they lost 3 straight games. The Giants were one of those games, Detroit Lions, and then I forget what the other loss was. This is a must-win game for them. You won your first 3 games, and now you've lost 3 straight. But their 3 wins were not against impressive teams. The Denver Broncos, the Miami Dolphins, and the New England Patriots with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. I really want to pick them today. Being on the road is going to be tough. I think this will be a 1 to 2 point win for the Atlanta Falcons. So I'm going to take the Seahawks to cover that 3. And I'll take the Atlanta Falcons to win. I think we will get over 51.5.
Another fantastic matchup. Absolute joy here. The Houston Texans, 5-1, headed to Lambeau to face the Green Bay Packers, who are 4-2. Packers, 2.5-point favorites. Over under in this game, 48.5. Kickoff is at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Authentic, tell me what you got.
So the 5-1 record by the Houston Texans is kind of sneaky if you think about it. I don't feel like they're playing their best ball just yet.
I thought they had 2 losses already.
Yeah. Oh, Drake made touchdown right there to Osborne. Man, that kid, I really like that kid, man. Giants, now I see why Joe Shane was trying to trade up. Ooh, this is a tough one to pick here. 2 of these wins for the Green Bay Packers did come with Malik Willis at quarterback. I do feel like, personally, my doppelganger has been making some very strange throws at times, trying to force the ball down the field. Still having some big games, but, they come with the mistake. And this is the kind of game where you can't make too many mistakes. I'd give you the grace of maybe 1 mistake today, Jordan Love. But I'm going to take the Houston Texans in this one. I think they'll cover. The Packers are favored by 2.5.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. outright taking the Texans. We'll go over the 48.5.
I'm going to stick with my best friend in the whole wide world at quarterback.
Let me tell you about my best friend.
I'm going to take the Green Bay Authentics.
All right.
I'm going to take them to cover the 2.5, and I'm going to take the over 48.5. Up next, the Battle of OHIO. The Cincinnati Bengals. They're 2-4. They're 5.5-point favorites. They're headed to Cleveland. The Browns are 1-5. Over under in this game is 41.5. I don't even think we need to say anything else. Give me the Bengals. The Bengals to cover, and I will take the. I'll take the under 41.5.
Taking the under. I think if this game goes under, the Browns are going to have a good chance to win it. The Bengals have not looked all that great, right? I mean, Joe Burrow did have that big performance against the Ravens where he put up 4 touchdowns, I believe it was, in that game. Outside of that, Joe Burrow has been, he's played some good ball. I don't think it's his fault why that team is losing. On the opposite end of the spectrum, the Browns, their quarterback position, they're struggling there too. But I think this game goes one of two ways. Either the Bengals completely blow them out, we get to that over 41.5, or this is going to be a close game and the Browns could possibly cover that 5.5. So I'm gonna take it being a low scoring game. I think it's gonna be a low scoring type of game. I'm gonna take the Browns to cover. I think the Bengals will win this one like 21-16, something like that. I'm gonna take the under 41.5.
Interesting. Up next.
Oh, but
200 yards. The Philadelphia Eagles, they're 3-2. They are 3-point favorites. They are headed up to New York, to face the Giants, who are 2-3. Over under in this game, 43.5. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Awthentik, tell me what you got.
I think we got a chance. I will say that. I mean, this Philadelphia Eagles team is not clicking. I do think that the bye came at the perfect time for them early in the season for them to kind of regroup, reassess what was going on, try to get their offense back on track, and most importantly, get healthy. They are coming into this one without their left tackle, Jordan Mailata. New York Giants lost Andrew Thomas for the year. This is going to be the first game that we get to see our offensive line unit without the same exact 5 guys that we have had for the entire season. The New York Giants were the only team, I believe, that fielded the exact same offensive line for all of the first 5 games. We'll see what goes on here. I'm the kind of person that's a wait and see type of dude. If the Giants can win this game, they'll be back in the mix a little bit, sitting at, a game under 500.
Oh, you guys will be at 500 if you.
I think that record is wrong. The Giants are 2-4 right now. Last week's loss pushed them to 2-4. But so you could get back to 3-4 because we're in week 7 right now and the Giants haven't had their bye. But I mean, like I said, I think they got a shot, but I'm not picking them to win this game. I'll take the Philadelphia Eagles to win it. I'll take the Eagles to cover the 3. What was the over under in this one? Is it 43?
43.5.
43.5. So I mean, I think we'll score a little something. The Giants should be good for their 15 points, right? They should be good for their good 15. Philly maybe give you about a good 20, 24 to 27. I think we'll be right under. I think we'll be just right under.
You want to know what you had for Thursday's preview?
27-17 Eagles.
Oh, you had 24-20 Eagles.
24-20, which would put us over by just barely. Authentic hair on the beard.
Listen, Saquon Barkley has an absolutely monster game. Giants fans go crazy over that. And the Eagles win. I'm going to take the under. I had a point total of 41. I had Philadelphia 24, New York Giants 17. So looking like
they said
under.
Saquon was out there signing autographs for Eagles fans and for the Giants fans.
Good,
them kids miss Saquon.
Good for those Giants fans and good for Saquon.
Yeah, they're not as spiteful as some.
Yeah, well,
I think we get the worst of the fan base on Twitter. I really do.
You guys are pretty bad.
Yeah,
but like. We will know what Giants fans are really like once we don't have to worry about Daniel Jones anymore.
Yeah, I saw a clip and I reposted it the other day about Ryan Clark speaking with Trent Richardson, and he had made a comment about Trent Richardson that a high school running back could come into the league and have more productivity than him back then, and Trent told him like how that was devastating to him, and Ryan Clark invited him on the podcast to apologize to him. And I was just like, damn, Ryan Clark is a good dude. I actually tweeted out, I said, if you don't like Ryan Clark, me and you can't be friends. Because I'm a big fan of Ryan Clark. He's just a real stand-up dude. But it made me think about like giving Daniel Jones a little bit more grace, at least till the end of the year. So Giants fans out there that are pro Daniel Jones, I'm gonna try my best. You know, I know we've been joning a lot
We've been
over
a
here,
little
dude.
hard on Daniel, but it's okay. We're not nasty.
We're not nasty. Yeah, we're not nasty. We're just
Ah.
we're a little overly critical.
Maybe.
I'll speak for me. I can be a bit overly critical, but I respect that position. I hold it to a high regard, man.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Yep.
Up next, the Las Vegas Raiders. They're 2-4. They're headed to LA to face the Rams. The Rams are 1-4. I don't know. They're favored by 7 points in this game. The over-under is 43.5. Kickoff is at 4:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm gonna take the Rams.
Tough.
I'm gonna take the Rams.
Might be one of them ones, bro.
I don't know if I think the Raiders will cover that 7 though. That seems a little egregious to me. I'm gonna go Rams to win, Raiders to cover. I'm gonna take the over 43.5. I think this one gets funny.
I feel you on that. I like that. This one might get funny. Both teams get in the 20s. I'm gonna take the over 43.5 as well. You know, I talked to a bunch of homies about this, about the Los Angeles Rams, that I'm a big fan of McVay and obviously Matthew Stafford. But their defense was not good last year when they had Aaron Donald in the lineup. You lose Aaron Donald, you try to, replace him with some good players out of Florida State. I love both of those guys, Braden Fisk and Jared Verse. I think they're both going to be fantastic players, but that defense is just not ready. And you're dealing with all those injuries that they had at the beginning of the year. On the offensive side of the ball, things get really tough and really dicey. I think I'm going to take the Raiders outright in this one. I really do. They benched your guy Minshew. They're bringing in Aiden O'Connell, who is a gamer. We talked about that. I'm going to take the Raiders in this one outright. This will be the upset of the week, which to me, I don't even understand why the Rams are favored by 7. It doesn't make sense. Should be more like 3, maybe 4.
Up next, it's the hottest ticket in the league right now. The Carolina Panthers are 1-5.
You're talking last week, man. The Ravens game is over,
no,
right?
I mean, any game now for the Washington Commanders is a hot commodity.
Panthers. This is one where we gonna stay our ass at home.
Washington's 4-2. They are 8.5-point favorites. This is the largest spread for the Commanders in probably, I think it's like 8 years or something like that. Over under is 51.5, not 51.4. Kickoff is at 4:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Shout out Darryl Green. He's going into the ring. I don't know if they're retiring his number or not. I can't remember. But he got the key to the city from the mayor yesterday. So big shout out to our guy Darryl Green. Much deserved. One of the best to ever do it, and did it for the same team his entire career. I'm going to take the Washington Commanders to win. I think I had them to cover the spread for sure. And 45-50, I'm going to take the over.
Taking the over 51.
I had 38-17.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's a 31-19 type of game. What did I have?
33-19. You get right on these spreads, man.
Yeah. We're not getting to 51. We're not getting it. Yeah. Commanders dominate this one. They cover the 8.5, though.
Up next, and the matchup we saw earlier this year, Super Bowl rematch, Kansas City Chiefs. The other undefeated team in the NFL, they're 5-0. They're headed to San Francisco. The 49ers are 3-3. 49ers are favored by 1.5 points. Over under in this game is 47.5. Ricky, in the movie, Ricky, unfortunately did not survive.
Didn't make it.
But in real life,
didn't even get to go to USC. In real life, though, Ricky made it to the NFL, and he survived a shot, and he might play today. So big shot. It's 2 years in a row. We get a guy gets shot in the preseason and comes back in the same year. Listen, San Francisco is I don't know what it is. I got into a little bit of a discussion
about Brock Purdy, and I was saying that this year Brock Purdy has been erratically inconsistent, like
Yeah.
having really good games and then just not having good games. And I put him in a tier with Dak Prescott, and people lost their minds. I'm gonna go Kansas City Chiefs to win this game outright. Um, Over under, like this is one of those games where it could be like 28-24 or it could be like 17-13. I'm gonna take the over though. I'm gonna take the over.
This one's tough. I mean, the fact that the Chiefs are undefeated makes me think that the 49ers are going to be able to win this game. And they're at home. Brock Purdy has really had one bad game all year. I'm taking the San Francisco 49ers. They're covered to 1.5. It's going to be a close game. I'll take the over 47.5.
Gonna be a fun one. Up next, Awthentik and the Beard make their season debut together as the New York Jets are 2-4. They're 1.5-point favorites. Headed up to Pittsburgh. The Steelers are 4-2. Over under in this game, disgusting. 38.5. Kickoff is at 8:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. Awthentik, tell me what you got.
This is a must win for the Jets, man. It's a must win. You just made this big trade. You fired your coach. I don't think they get it. But the one thing that gives me, and it's crazy what the quarterback position can do for me as a person that has rooting interest in a team. When Justin Fields is playing quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm dialed in. Let's go. I always keep their games up on the side. I'm a big fan of Justin Fields, dynamic, explosive type of player. You bring in Russell Wilson, it's like, I'm not saying he can't win, but
Let's ride.
Steelers country. Let's ride. I'm not going for it, man. Both of these teams are in a weird position, but I'm simply because it's Russell Wilson, I'm taking the Jets. I think the Jets will get their third win of the year.
I'm going Jets. Devontae Adams, 10 catches, over 100 yards, 1 touchdown. Give me the over 38.5.
Jets will they're definitely going to target Devonta. I think he could possibly get to Devontae Adams could probably get to 10 targets. I don't know about 10 receptions. That's asking a lot.
Shout out to Marjorie in the chat dropping the Marge bombs. Zudu is going to start at left tackle.
I don't like that. Marjorie, I don't like that. That's not the news I wanted to hear. Good luck, Daniel Jones. Good luck, buddy.
Up next, the first of 2 Monday night games. The Baltimore Ravens are 4-2. They're 3.5-point favorites. They're headed to Tampa Baker to face the Buccaneers. They're 4-2. Over under 49.5. Kickoff 8:15 p.m.
You're going
Eastern
first on
Standard
this.
Time. I'm going first.
Yeah. Don't be like, hey, Awthentik, what you got?
This game, the Packers, Texans, Chiefs, 49ers, Lions, Vikings. Damn, there's some good games. I listen, I'm not betting against Lamar Jackson as much as I love Baker and what Tampa Bay is doing. And Tampa Bay is starting, they got another new running back, Sean Tucker, not our barber.
He's doing all right.
I'm going to take the Ravens, though. I'm going to take the Ravens to win, Tampa Bay to cover, and give me the over 49.5. I think Baltimore wins by a field goal.
Yeah. I like it. I think Baltimore wins by a little bit more than that. Give me about a touchdown. So I do think they're going to cover the 3.5, but I'm with you. I'll take the over 49.5. Both these offenses coming in, clicking. This is going to be a good game. This should be a good one. This might be kind of like that game, the Miami Dolphins versus the Baltimore Ravens last year where Tua put up, 5 touchdowns in the fourth quarter? I think it'll be a game something like that.
It's going to be a fun one. Probably a lot funner than the second Monday night game, which I don't know what I can't figure out the NFL schedule. It used to be very easy.
Now I like it, though. I like this 2 young quarterbacks, on the up and up. I like it.
Yeah, but Monday night doubleheaders are just weird to me.
I like the Monday night doubleheader, but what is weird, where I'll agree with you on it, is the timing. They stagger them by just 45 minutes, which that's not enough. You should at least allow the game to get to halftime. Maybe start a West Coast game at like 9:30 or 10.
The first one or start the first one at like 7:30, 7:15.
Exactly. Give you a little bit more time in between the 2 games. But yeah, I do feel you on that. It's weird trying to watch them both at the same time.
Chargers are 3-2. They're 1.5-point favorites. They're headed to Zona. Kyler Murray's. They're 2-4. Over under 44.5. Kickoff is at 9:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Awthentik, tell me what you got.
I mean, Chargers have been playing really good ball, relying on the run, good defense. the Cardinals, when they're good, their offense is really good. Yeah. I'm going to take the Cardinals in this one. Yeah, I'll take the Cardinals outright. I'm going to take the over 44.5.
I am going to take the Chargers to win this game. Chargers to cover, and I'm going to take the under 44.5. I think Chargers defense finds a way to stop Arizona. Looks like Marvin Harrison Jr. will be playing in this game. I think he cleared the concussion protocol. So that is going to wrap up every single game. Over, unders, the spreads for Week 7 in the NFL here on Awthentik and The Beard. I think we have one question before we get out of here. I got to pick it. Shout out to my last name, Stewart's first name, Nafis.
Nafis.
To start, Anthony Richardson or Kyler Murray? Give me Kyler Murray. Ooh. Yeah.
The defensive matchup is
Both.
more in Richardson's favor, I feel like, probably.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I gave you that Miami numbers.
Yeah, but their offense is so trash that you're going to get opportunities in that game. And you said passing numbers. I wonder where that rush defense is. I'm going Richardson.
Okay.
Even though I think Kyler's going to have – Kyler should have a big night, and I'm kind of going out on a limb by picking them to beat the Chargers on Monday night. I'm going Anthony Richardson. Yeah. It's a tough one, though.
Rest in peace, Chris Farley in the building. Who would you start? Josh Downs or Jordan Addison?
I'd go Jordan Addison.
Yeah, more consistency in that position for the Vikings than for the Colts. I agree. I'm going to take Addison. Speaking of the Colts, Gregory, for the record, needs your choice on the over-under, and that was...
This is my dog right here, holding me accountable.
43.5 Colts Dolphins.
Let's go under.
Under. Shout out to Gregory holding us down in the scoreboard category here.
Scoreboard department.
Love it. All right, Awthentik. Any last words before Saquon Barkley goes for 200 total yards?
Nah, man, but I just wanted to say nah, man.
That was good. That was good.
On the real, should be some really good games, today. There's some great matchups. NFC East, Giants-Eagles game is probably the biggest matchup of the week here. The loser of that game is going to be in some serious shit. And I like these matchups. Chiefs, 49ers, that's a really good one. Going to be looking forward to that. I will be on Bleacher Report today after the game around about 4:15, recapping the New York Giants and Philadelphia Eagles game. So if you ain't doing too much, pull up real quick. Should be a short 20, 30-minute stream. I always say that. They always run about 45, but you know what it is, man. Putting my foot in this content world. But, yeah, definitely a good vibe today. Beard, I know we're pretty close in these records. We're going to have to get to about halfway through the season and kind of tally these up, see where we at.
Halfway will be fun. We appreciate all the love and all the support from everybody. Don't forget to check us out on Twitter, where you guys can find those links to Awthentik, who will be on Bleacher Report following the game. And then tomorrow, Giant Overreaction, 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on Awthentik and The Beard. Enjoy the games, and should be a nice, fun day of football. A lot of really good matchups. I'm going to be eating some dinner with some family lamb for the football game, so I'm excited.
Dope. Well, let's get them up out of here, man. Y'all know what it is. Keep raising that bar. Keep living those dreams, because the universe flows in Technicolor and surround sound, and a life without dreams is black and white. Rest in peace to the podcast GOAT, Combat Jack. Week 7, y'all. That's a wrap. Best of luck to y'all fantasy teams. Hope y'all get the dub. I know I need it. I'm trying to go on a 3-game winning streak, man. We will catch y'all tomorrow on the Giant Overreaction at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Y'all be good. Enjoy y'all ball. Peace.
Spike don't care.